Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shots Fired podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Kyle Schoberg, and I've got 15 years of law enforcement experience. A number of those were spent in K-9 and SWAT and patrol.
And I'm Billy. I probably have the least amount of experience out of the group here.
Probably.
But I've got experiences in corrections, which none of you guys do. Mm-mm. I got experience in patrol, which I think we all have. And then I've got experience in detectives, which again, none of you guys have.
No. Mm-hmm.
But I've had assignments in gangs, narcotics, and most recently as a fugitive apprehension team, or on a fugitive apprehension team. Yeah.
And I am Mark, 13 years in law enforcement, worked patrol, a couple other assignments, and ultimately ended on a full-time SWAT team.
Yeah, I mean, Billy totally undervalues, I think, his job. I think out of all of us, you've got a super cool job.
Oh, I do think I have the coolest job. Yeah, I will say that.
Yeah, Billy goes after the most violent offenders there are. So mainly homicide suspects, which, I mean, that's been weekly for you guys.
Pretty much.
Yeah, tracking those guys down. Yeah, violent crime has definitely been up. So definitely Billy's got an awesome job. I think actually all of us have had, to me, in my opinion, the best jobs in law enforcement. All three of us have.
Well, if you ask like new people what they want to do in law enforcement, I think most would say I want to do SWAT, I want to do K-9, or I want to be a detective.
Yep.
And I think we got it covered for the most part.
Yeah, we do.
Why don't you tell everybody what we're going to be discussing for our next couple episodes?
All right, so we're pretty excited about this. It's going to be a 2-part episode. The first part is ultimately talking about mental health and how the three of us have dealt with constant changing and different critical incidents and situations that have caused us mental trauma. And then the second part is going to be how the three of us have dealt with those traumas and ultimately the effects it has on our family and us compounded. Mm-hmm. So it's a 2-part, and it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, so we'll do a 2-part deal on this. That way we're not shortcutting anything. I think the information is, I mean, super, super valuable for everybody. So again, this will be a 2-part episode. We don't want to drag these on too long. We like to keep these at about an hour. So that's why we're doing that. Let's roll our intro and dive into it.
All right.
Hey, 4-hour shot fired. Copy, additional shot fired. Shot fired, shot fired. Shooting at us. Suspect shooting an officer. Down. He's at the base of the stairs, white t-shirt, white male.
All right. So, how was everybody's week? I mean, we've been out for the last couple of weeks, and we apologize for that. I think we've mentioned it before. We all work full time, and we're still cops and doing the job. And so sometimes getting all of us together is can be challenging at times. But so we apologize for being gone for the last couple of weeks. But how was your guys' couple weeks, Billy? I know you went on a cool vacation. Yeah,
vacation's always good.
So that's why we couldn't record, because you were snowboarding in Colorado.
Yeah.
How was it?
That was great. I went with a big group, most of which were firefighters. I was the only cop there. But
did they have a good time?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had a good time.
Firefighters usually, I've partied with firefighters. Those guys know how to party. I'll give it to them.
Yeah, they're all good guys. It's, it's funny, we're bringing up the whole mental health and everything on this episode. And, we had most of them drunken and, kind of whatever conversations. But, they've gone through some of the same, not exactly the same, but some of the same stuff that we've all dealt with. So it's good to go with like-minded people, I would say, that aren't the same. Because I don't want to sit here and I don't want to. Me personally, I'm not the guy who wants to hang out with cops all the time.
Yeah, I'm not either.
And have cop stories and that's part of my coping mechanism, I guess, to deal with some of the stuff that we deal with. But
yeah, where in Colorado did you guys go?
Breckenridge and Vail, and then Keystone is where we went.
So close to Denver? Yeah,
probably 2 hours-ish, depending on what part an hour to 2 hours, because Denver's big area, like most major areas, right?
How cold did it get?
It was there was a big minus in front of it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not used to that here in California. It's been
no. I was freezing.
Did your
Yeah.
eyelashes freeze? Like your
No,
your
but
tear
I
ducts
did
when you're
have.
snowboarding?
I did have my beard was like it felt like a armor plated beard.
Wow.
Because it was just frozen ice.
Yeah.
And you could just knock on it.
I have not experienced that cold.
No,
I don't think I have either, to be honest. That's pretty cool.
I should have gotten a picture of the icicled beard.
Oh, you didn't get a picture?
No,
Dang.
I'm not the big picture guy.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Whatever. So you had fun. That's cool.
Great
You
time.
got to get away for a little bit. That's nice. How about you, Mark? What'd you do?
Working multiple jobs and doing some yard work, building a rock wall and just tinkering away. And
Yeah, you got a lot going on in your house, right? I
I
mean,
do a lot of construction.
always a project. Well, there's always projects going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a never ending story. Home projects, but
Yeah.
yeah. And for me, I mean, man, just working, you know, I'm on graveyards. So I
You're
got
back
that
to
shit.
work. I don't know if the last episode you were fully back to work.
I don't
or-
remember. I don't remember.
You were going back to work when the
Yeah.
last episode came on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never mentioned it, but, we, at my department, we get a month off of work every year and you get to choose what month you get off. So, I mean, it doesn't tap into your vacation time or nothing. So it's a called a mini sabbatical.
Paid?
So
Paid time off?
Oh yeah. It's all paid. 4 solid weeks in a row off. You don't go to work. It's,
In addition to
to be
your normal
honest, I actually have never heard of another department that does it. I don't know if you guys have,
I
but
don't know of any.
usually
I'm sure
when-
there's someone out there, but yeah, I've never heard of it.
maybe, but usually when I tell somebody that, like, oh yeah, I get a month off of work every year, like, and you get to choose whatever month you went off. People are like, you know, totally dumbfounded by that. I'm sure some of you listening right now are baffled by that.
Yeah,
but
I am.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah, it's
friends
pretty
with
cool.
you.
Yeah, it's just an incentive that our city
I use
offers.
friends a little bit looser than you, I guess.
Yeah, acquaintances. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
You only
it's,
see
it's
him
cool.
at the studio.
The cop who
Yeah.
lives down the street from me.
Yeah. Whatever. No, it's cool. I mean, you know, it gives you a chance to kind of disconnect from work. You know, so
Which is
complaints
huge.
there. Yeah, it's and you still get your vacation time, you know. So some people will tack on their 2-week vacation time on the sabbatical and you're off for 6 weeks, you know. So
Wow.
And the guys that have kids, they time it right. So they know when their wives are due and then they'll throw their baby leave on there. And then as soon as baby leave's over, boom, they're rolling into their sabbatical. So, I mean, you play your cards right, you know, you're off for 3-4 months. So
I applaud your
it's cool.
city for offering that because that's in addition
Pretty
to
rare.
your vacation is pretty
So for
rad.
everyone that's listening who's jealous right now, suckers. Anyways, so other than that, it's been good. I mean, it's been busy at work. Shoot, you know, unfortunately here in the region, we had an officer get killed. Tyler Linehan. He actually worked at our department for a few years before laterally to the agency that he's at now. And unfortunately he died in a car accident on the way to work on his motorcycle, his police motorcycle. So, bum deal about that. They just had his funeral yesterday, or no, I'm sorry, on Tuesday.
days
So
ago.
2 days ago. Yeah. So it's a bum deal. And along those lines, you know, man, I looked at the stats the other day and, shit, this year already in 2022, there's been 29 cops that have
there's
been
2 more,
killed in the line of duty already. It's insane. Just last week alone, I think 6+ cops got shot.
That's on pace
I mean,
for
fuck.
250 officers.
Dude. Yeah, to me, that's got to be a record so far. I mean, that's just fucking nuts. I mean, we heard about the 2 New York cops that got shot. You know, so I guess this is probably the perfect time to have the episode that we're going to have because of the year that we've already started to have, which is, I mean, it's just unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. And, you know, unfortunately we all know what we sign up for and the possibility is there. But obviously, I mean, you never really want to think that it's going to happen, obviously, to somebody that we work with or someone close to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we never want to think that it's going to happen, but you should definitely
Be
mentally
prepared.
check that
Yeah.
box. And because, first of all, going from experience, you whatever way you think you're going to handle it, you're not.
Yeah.
As far as, and when I talk about what I'm talking about is, you know, losing a friend that you've worked with and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Or a friend who maybe their career ends for whatever reason too. Could be the same thing.
Yeah. No shit.
Or yourself, which you know a little bit more about.
Yeah.
But as far as, check that, go through that mentally and be like, here's, maybe like have a plan, even though it's going to go to crap right away, but at least that way you have, you're acknowledging that it can happen. And then it's not such a huge surprise that you're just.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like, we'll get into our topic here in a minute, but I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about like preparing yourself for that. I mean, if you're not mentally preparing yourself for just this job, this job in general, I mean, man, I think when something like that happens, you're going to be so swept off your feet. I personally want to be prepared for that. I mean, I have had friends who have died in this job, and it fucking sucks, but that's not the time to crumble. I mean, right?
No.
So
it's the opposite time of the time to crumble.
Yeah, it's shitty.
After it is actually though, because I think everyone is gonna crumble a little bit after.
Well, yeah, that means sure in the beginning.
And
I think you would have some problems if you don't experience a little crumbling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those will be lasting effects that'll be really difficult to deal with.
Oh yeah, it'll come out later if if it doesn't. But
they'll come out no matter what.
Yeah.
And they will continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, you want to kick it off and explain, kind of roll into this, what we're going to be talking about?
So I think ultimately we want to start off with really the explanation of why each of us got into law enforcement. And I'll start with that one. I actually I was on vacation with my girlfriend at the time, who's my now wife, in LA. Her uncle was a deputy in Compton through LA County Sheriff. And he's like, do you want to do a ride along? So I was like, sure, I'll do a ride along at night with the watch commander. Rode with the watch commander in Compton, and it was off the hook.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was absolutely wild. We went code 3. We're the watch commander, so he responded to like.
Was that a lieutenant there, or is it?
It is a lieutenant. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. So yeah, he is a lieutenant. So he oversaw like the Compton division, that city. So anytime there's a major call going on, we went to it, and there was multiple shootings, a homicide we went to, code 3 everywhere on the freeway. Like it was it was absolutely nuts. We drove through, I was blown away, pointed out certain things. Like it was the history of the rap videos and all that stuff that you grew up with.
Yeah.
Like I went through it and it was insane. And then I drove home back to the house, and I was like, I think this is what I want to do. And then I went back and did a ride along with him, and he was a detective in the Compton at the time. So we went out and did like different type of follow-up, kind of a different perspective.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, this is rad. Like what we saw, what these guys were doing, the ladies out there working, like it was incredible. I was blown away, just pure adrenaline, heart racing I was 22 at the time, just wild. So I came back home. What's that?
Was that SO or PD?
The Sheriff's Department.
Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, they used to have a PD,
which is way better.
Yeah, and then ended up.
I had to throw that in there.
But once I was done, I was like, sealed the deal. This is what I want. And then I did a ride along in a really small local agency with a lady that used to work in LA for LAPD for 20 years, moved up here to retire, and rode along with her on a Friday night. And it was really mellow and slow, which was cool because I got to listen to her perspective of like both different areas and why you want to work at busy versus not. Yeah. And that was I was like, I'm hooked. Like that is why I want to be a cop. And that's why I became one. It was just the adrenaline, the excitement. Like that's why I want to be a cop.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'll go next, but
you were 12, so
I was. Fuck, man. I was. I think I was.
So you saw Paw Patrol, and you were like, "Yeah,
he's probably still wearing a costume. It's the law enforcement, the cop costume.
Paw Patrol.
What was the kids?
How do you even know what Paw Patrol is?
I don't know. Like
oh my god. Paw Patrol. Yes, I saw Paw Patrol, and I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna be him.
And then I became a K9 because I really wanted Paw Patrol.
No shit. That's why I went down that road. That's funny. No, it wasn't. It wasn't because actually
why did you become a cop?
Well, I used to watch. I was actually heavy into Power Rangers, so.
But
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I was like I was the Black Power Ranger for.
I've never
Halloween
really watched Power Rangers.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Yeah,
I had.
Well, you're too old.
Oh, yeah.
Mark, you're like 70, dude.
You're stupid. Dude.
Actually, Mark's only 30. You just look 70.
We went to the academy together.
A career in law enforcement will do this.
Yeah, we should. We should use like the next poster child of like this.
My God.
You know, like the before and afters of like people that do meth and crank and shit. Like,
Faces of law enforcement.
yeah. Oh no, faces of meth. That's what that's called. Yeah, well, faces of law enforcement.
That's fucked up.
We're
of you
totally
guys. Let's go back to the fact that you were watching Power Rangers playing Pokemon Go.
Yes. Okay. So
The day before you went to the academy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably
I was
at the
young.
Academy.
I was young, but it's funny you talk about like the doing a ride along adrenaline rush. I mean, obviously that wasn't my experience of why I wanted to go into law enforcement, because you guys know where I grew up, very small town up by Tahoe here in California. Not a lot going on. And my uncle was a sergeant there. And so, and he was a detective and he was on their SWAT team. So my perspective of it growing up, I was very close to him, and, I didn't get to see all that kind of shit because that just wasn't going on where I lived. But, I think you see that on TV, and, you got to kind of live that before getting in the job. And I think most of us would probably agree that, like, I think we think that's the job, like just like fun, adrenaline rush, getting into cool shit. And you definitely don't think about like the side effects of the job, like the shitty hours, all the paperwork, report writing, all the negative things that come along with it. And so for me, I was wanting to be a paramedic actually. And so maybe wanting to get into firefighting. And so I was kind of doing, internship on an ambulance and doing all that. And I was like, shit, I think I was a senior in high school. And after running some calls and just dealing with sick people all day, and I was just like, yeah, fuck this. I'm like, I don't want to do this for a living. It's not for me. So I did a couple ride-alongs with my uncle, and just even doing a traffic stop, I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. Just driving around in a cop car, I don't know, I felt like I was hooked. I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. Just being in the car, with the computer and everything, and I thought it was super cool. And so I did
at 12 years old, being in a cop car.
I was 17. Give me a break. I was 17, maybe 18.
In 17, I think I did some ride-alongs in the backseat of a cop car.
Yeah, you probably did.
My nephew, he's 6, loves patrol cars.
Listen, guys, is this my story? No.
Yeah, tell us.
So anyways, I was like, man, this is kind of what I want to do. And so, I did the ride-alongs, and then I did my senior project on becoming a police officer. So I actually had no intentions of becoming a cop so soon. I wanted to go to college, do all that, and then apply. But it just kind of worked out. I was starting my first, I think maybe first or second year of college, just a community college. And, I'm like 19 at the time. And a spot opens up at the agency where I was living up there in Grass Valley. And I thought, well, I'll throw my name in the hat. Back then, agencies would sponsor you to go to the academy. So they're paying for you to go, paying you while you're in it. And I wanted to throw my name in the hat just to kind of get the experience of testing. It just worked out. I ended up getting picked up. They hired me. And I think we've talked about this on a prior episode, but it was Chiefs. I remember he sat me down and he's like, I generally don't hire someone. I had to have been like 19 and a half. I know I wasn't 21. That's for sure.
No, because I remember you graduated the academy and you're 20.
Yeah, I was not even 21 yet. Yeah, so he sits me down basically and he's like,
who the fuck says that's okay?
Yeah, dude, I know,
So
right?
you can give a DUI to somebody,
But I wasn't
but you
21.
couldn't drink.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'll get into it in a second. But like, he was like, hey, I got to give it to him. Like, fuck, I wouldn't be sitting here like right now with you guys if he didn't give me that opportunity. And he told me, he's like, you fuck up one time, like you're out. And so I said, yes, sir. Like I will not let you down. I promise, because I knew the opportunity that I was getting. So long and the short is, go to the academy. I was getting paid $14 an hour while in the academy.
What?
Yeah. So, but I didn't care. Like I was fucking pumped, And so
You got paid?
I think I was making $29 an hour in the academy.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Well, dude, I came from a small little agency, so that's what they were paying their recruits at the time. Obviously, now I know it's much higher than that, but back then, 2006, it was 2006. That's what I was getting paid, $14 an hour. I'm fucking 19 years old. Maybe I just turned 20 when the academy started, And, you know, Mark and I were obviously in the same academy class, and, you know, I took a lot of shit while in the academy, as you know, from the guys I went to the academy with and gals, because I was so young, and a lot of people there were just flat out wouldn't even give me the time of day because they just were like, dude, you're way too young to do this job. Like, and I agree with them. Like, looking back, I don't think you should be a cop at that age. And to be honest, I'm fortunate that I started out at a slow, small department, but because I don't know how it would have worked out if I would have started at a busy agency.
Well, think about the math behind it now. 2.7 at 57. So you would have almost a 40-year career.
I know. Yeah. So
wild.
I lucked out, you know,
That's crazy.
It worked out for me. Right. And so, I was off field training, and I was not even 21 yet. I was still 20. So
I remember you were saying that you had to leave your gun at the station.
I did.
You could not carry it and take it home.
I did.
With you.
Yeah. So
Yeah, seriously. I remember you telling me that.
yeah. So I had to leave my firearm at the PD because you have to be 21 to carry even as a cop, you can only carry it on duty. So I couldn't even carry
Which blows my
know.
mind because they're saying you're responsible enough to wear a uniform and to carry a gun,
I know.
but not off duty.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I think I think I was definitely the exception to the rule, not the rule in that case. It worked out, you know. I learned from a lot of older salty guys, which I'm very grateful for. They were very hard on me, but I'm thankful for that. But, you know, to answer your question, I guess why I got into law enforcement, you know, I would love to give you the standard answer of, you know, I want to give back to my community, and sure, like that's a part of it. But for me, it was just, man, I don't know, like the adrenaline of it, just the action, all that shit that comes with being a cop. Like when I did those ride-alongs, I loved it. Like that's all I really wanted to do. And that's all I really thought about was just getting to do that.
Sounds like kind of the consensus so far.
Yeah. And I think most people probably get into this career because of that. Now, obviously when you're sitting down for an interview and they ask you, well, why do you want to do this job? Whatever, right? Like that's probably not going to be the best answer to give people. I mean, that's some of it,
I want to drive fast and carry a gun.
yeah, don't just say that. But no, seriously, I mean,
authority.
I don't have like a genuine, like,
I think you do.
I don't have,
genuine. You want the excitement.
I don't have like a specific, nothing happened to me as a kid. You know, I did grow up in a kind of a domestic violence household when I was really young before my mom left my dad and got together with my now stepdad. But, you know, and the cops would show up to my house for those things. And I do remember, you know, looking at those guys in uniform and kind of looking at them like, you know, like superheroes, like they were there to like save us.
Yeah, there was admiration there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
which might have changed now. Generally,
Yeah.
I think that, like, from what I've dealt with,
yeah, I mean, for sure,
it's about half and half. I think it used to be, there used to be a lot more admiration.
Yeah, I know. As a kid, I just remember the cops being at my house, and when they would get there, I just felt so relieved because I just felt like everything was good now, and so and safe, and just seeing in their uniform. So I think that to me is my why of why I got into this job, and then you know, you never know what you're going to get into this career, and so I mean, shit, I've had quite eventful things happen to me, but fortunate to make it through everything, and now wanting to pass that knowledge on to, you know, to the up and coming. So that's my why.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Both good. Mine's completely different, I would say.
Billy's was construction, drinking beer. He's like, I got to do something with my life.
Kind of. I mean, in a way. So I grew up in a complete law enforcement family. You know, my dad, my entire life was a cop. My grandpa was a cop, and then ended up teaching criminal justice. My great grandpa was not. My great grandpa was a cop. So it's kind of the family business, I would say.
Yeah.
But growing up, you know, my dad went through the ranks and everything, and ended up, you know, being pretty far up in an agency. But, you know, I dealt with him at different levels growing up, as far as career or ranking.
Ranks,
That's the word I'm looking for. But you know, so he dealt with his own traumas just like everything.
Yeah.
And we're talking 80s and 90s. So I think resources were a lot less back then.
Oh, dude. If any, I don't think there was any.
I don't even know, like, there was no such thing as PTSD for officers.
No,
and stuff back then.
there wasn't.
Not even in the military.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Yeah,
consider
that
it.
wasn't a thing.
So growing up, my mom, and bless her soul, said you can be anything you want to be. Don't be a cop. Is
No
what
shit.
She told me. Growing
Wow.
up, she told me that multiple times. And first of all, my mom is probably the most supportive person of what I do now. But she had her reasonings for saying that. And
Was that because of your dad and issues maybe that were going on
it was
behind
because
closed doors? Or?
No, there was no. I don't think there was any issues as far as relationship and family.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I'd say yes. There's definitely issues between relationship and family. And any cop that says that they don't bring their work home and don't have relationship and family issues,
Yeah.
I think to a certain extent it happens.
Yeah.
It's how you deal
doubt.
with it and how everything happens. My mom and my dad dealt with it great, but it puts strains on things. I'm Christmases. There's plenty of Christmases. Christmases.
Yeah, I think it's Christmases.
Christmases. That it seems weird, right?
A little bit.
That my dad wasn't there.
Yeah.
I remember going on family trips that my dad didn't make it to, and it was just because back then the pay was a lot different too. We're pretty well compensated for what
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
I recall my dad working, his job in law enforcement, then off-duty security job here, another off-duty security job here, just to provide for the family kind of deal.
Yeah.
So growing up, it was like, yeah, I got out of high school. I was like, nah, I don't want to be a cop. It's the last thing I want to do. And wanted to be a firefighter, I think. Did a little bit of that. Didn't really work out. So got into construction. And then I started working a lot out of town is what it was in construction. And I started thinking to myself, like, man, how could being a cop be worse than this family-wise? I was out of town 5-6 days a week. And I didn't have a wife or kids or anything,
Yeah.
but still, the future was always in my head. So I said, maybe it's something I want to do. And I started thinking about it and talking about it. And I had plenty of resources. My dad's friends, I call them uncles and stuff.
Yeah.
We're all cops too. So I knew what I was getting into. And then about the time, a little bit before I got into the academy, and this is about the time I started thinking about it, I had a friend who was deployed in Afghanistan, and he didn't come back. And I started thinking, I'm like, man, this guy goes over there, fights for the country, did everything, and, heroic in my mind. And I sat back and I was like, well, what have I done? I should have done the military. And I'm like, at this point, I'm 26, and maybe that time didn't pass, but in my mind, I'm like,
That's a little old.
It's too late for me to go to the military.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had this need to serve in a way, and I already had the thought of law enforcement. So I started talking to my dad and other people about it, and talked to my mom. My mom was a big decision maker in it. Like, hey, mom, and I started telling her my thoughts, and she, I think I swayed her, and she was like, yeah, you should do it. So ultimately, she was part of the reason why I did it. She was part of the reason why I didn't do it younger, but then part of the reason why I did do it older. And so I had that want to serve my community, and I figured, hell, I'll give this cop thing a try.
Yeah, here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, paid my way through academy, had to quit my work. I remember saving up money, selling my truck so that I could go to the academy. And I felt then, like right then, I felt the sacrifice, and it felt great, actually. As hard as it was, you're sitting there, you're like, yeah, your friends are going out to the bar, or, having
Yeah.
a good time. And you're like, first of all, I shouldn't. And second of all, I can't afford to,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think serving the community would be like, I could say that, like, I want to say that it was serving community and stuff like that, but I'm also adrenaline junkie, and I knew the fun parts of law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that I think I had a pretty good view of the the bad part of law enforcement.
Yeah. Like family life.
The family life, the missing of, holidays, not being able to go to friends' things, as simple as that.
Yeah.
And, people looking at you different, whatever it was. But I think I had that mental preparation before. And that was from probably the time I was in high school. I always had that mental preparation, I think, because that's when you start to be an adult, even though you're not an adult, but you start to have adult
feelings
and stuff like that, I guess.
Billy.
So here's the birds and the bees, guys.
Yeah. No, that's a cool story. I mean, shit, honestly, shit's fucking better in our story, but.
Well, I think it's interesting because you taught, like, posing the question and then, like, there's deep rooted reasons in. I mean, I didn't really say mine because I didn't really think of it. But when you guys talked about it, like, I saw the cops when I was a kid and they went to a car accident down the road from me. And it was really cool to see them. Like, I looked at them as like heroes.
Yeah. I think that's, I think a lot of cops don't really think about that when they're in the job and they've been doing it a while. Like the actual impact you have on
You do.
kids and just other people in the public, just showing up to an everyday call that you're probably pissed off about being at, like a car crash or just a report call or whatever. And a kid may see you and, man, like, honestly, that could change that kid's life and be like, you know what? I want to be that when I'm older.
It totally affects every kid.
I seriously think cops lose sight of that over the years. I know I have, like, I'm definitely guilty of it. And there's been times when I've kind of put myself in check a little bit and try to remember the times when I was a kid and saw a cop, and made that impression. So, but that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, no. And for me, like, I saw cops every day, right? Whether it was my dad or my dad's friends coming over. And I saw the human side of it too. 100%. I always saw the human side of it because I saw more of the human side than I saw the work side of cops.
Yeah.
And, and I had my own ideas of what it was. And,
yeah,
if you ask people that I went to high school with or that knew me when I was younger and they're like, oh yeah, Billy's a cop now. They're like, they'll laugh their ass off.
Yeah.
That's funny. Me too.
They're like, there's no way that guy's a cop.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, for sure.
And
you were still in high school.
I know, exactly.
Like, wait a minute. Isn't he supposed to pick us up from lunch today?
Oh yeah.
Well, no, and I think that you, like you didn't even get to experience a lot of things.
No, I didn't.
As far as with law enforcement.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that you look at and it's not necessarily an age thing. I think it is because of age with you.
Yeah.
But you have these people in law enforcement, these cops in law enforcement that, maybe got out of high school, went to college for 4 years, and maybe they went to a party or something like that, or maybe they were the people who are like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be a cop. I'm on the straight level all the time, and they never could see they never ran from a cop. They never got fucking terrified when there was a cop behind them, kind of deal. And they can't understand, or maybe they can, but it's harder for them to understand that emotion that people get when they see a cop.
Yeah, I think cops like that are more black and white when it comes to their job. And, for me, you're definitely right. I missed out on all that shit. But I think I became a better cop when I started experiencing more life experience, like, divorce, kids, all that shit, totally changed my perspective of being a cop. That's really, I kind of feel like, I don't know, the life experience prior to the job, I think, is a huge deal in this job.
You can't train life experience.
No, you can't. Exactly.
And,
so
I think that in law enforcement, we do a good job of training, and we train a lot of things, and there's no training for life experience. So that's a disconnect that you'll never get with the 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm. You're 1,000% right.
Well, I shouldn't say never. That 19-year-old won't have it. Maybe they'll develop it like you have to a certain extent.
Yeah, you go through those stuff through life. I mean,
but I don't think you ever really were at a point in your life where you were terrified because there was a cop behind you.
No,
I mean,
not really.
I don't know about you. Like, for me, like, there's plenty of times where I was like, fuck, I'm getting a ticket. I can't afford this.
I always ran.
Or, no, just kidding. Or, I mean, honestly, I'm at a party when I'm underage drinking and the cops show up.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a little bit different too, because granted, I probably wasn't the one who's going to go to jail, but 99% of the time, nobody was going to jail and nobody
Yeah.
was getting in any
yeah.
trouble.
I know.
But 100% of the time, my dad was getting a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
100, like they could drive by and see that everyone knew my car, kind of deal in the town I grew up
Yeah.
because of that, and they could be like, "Oh, hey, Bill, your kid was over here."
See,
Yeah.
that's the difference is you never experienced it.
Well-
you didn't want to get pulled over because your dad would hear about it.
Right.
But
I didn't really give a shit.
I mean, you're right on that. But like for me, you know, my struggle was always, you know, I was a cop, and so like I didn't get to go out and party with all my friends and go
Right.
do all the things that like, and they were always wanting me to do those things, and it's like I couldn't because I knew I would get fired, and I'm glad I didn't because you know I didn't want to lose my job, but so like I missed out on a lot with my friends because they're going out and doing the things that college kids are doing and living that lifestyle and having fun. And, you know, I didn't get to do that shit. And so the struggle for me was always having to miss out on all that. And I felt like because I became a cop so young, like I was forced to like mature and grow so fast. You know, so that, you know, I always kind of, I don't want to say like I regret it, but those are definitely times in my life that like I'll never get back and I'll never get to do again. You know, I've had fun, you know, throughout my career and friends and doing all that stuff, but living that lifestyle, like I missed out on that. So,
And I think that the most important tool that I have in my tool bag or whatever was my time in construction. As
Yeah.
a cop, and people are like, will be like, that's crazy, not firearms proficiency or whatever, knowing laws and something like that. It's 100% my time in construction because, first of all, work ethic, that's huge.
yeah.
And in construction, or for who I worked for, was like, if you're not making it, or if you're not,
had to be dependable.
If you're not like working your ass off every day, that's fine. There's 10 other people that
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah. You had to
So
be dependable.
we'll jump in and take it. And, you know, and then being able to talk to people of all different backgrounds too.
Yeah.
If you can't talk,
Huh.
don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think you. I mean, I would not have wished it would change because I wouldn't have met you, but I really don't think you should be a cop or allowed to go to the academy before like the age of 25.
I agree.
Because of those reasons.
I
Like I
agree.
was in construction, it's work ethic, it's mature, like you see the world, you understand how things work, how car payments and your house payment, like you kind of have a general concept of what happens. And then when you start going to calls, you know what you do affects that.
Yeah.
Well, see, I would disagree with that to a certain extent. So, you know, you there's 17, 18 kids are out of high school now, right? I think
Yeah.
some are
Yeah.
out at 17, right?
Yeah.
I think I was almost 19 probably because I'm dumb.
That's because you got held back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kindergarten was rough.
Yeah.
But you know, you get those kids or whatever we want to call them at that age, get out of high school, they go to college for 4 to 5 years, and then they come out and they sign up to be going law enforcement. You know, maybe they're that 22, 23. You said 25, which is
Yeah.
higher than I've heard most say. But a lot of people say, you know, college is put a lot of weight in colleges. A lot of agencies do that. And I think it's
I don't
it's
agree with that.
asinine.
Yeah. I don't
think
agree
it's
with that
stupid.
either.
So now we talk about a guy who 18, 19 now gets out of high school and enlists in the military, does 2-3 years in the military. I think that's a person that I want
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but they're coming out
It
of the
depends.
military into law enforcement. They have some type of a different experience.
They have
I think what-
life experience, but I mean anything like people will say. So I've had arguments with a lot of friends about college and the weight that it's put on in law enforcement. A lot of heated arguments because I think it's stupid.
It is dumb.
I just had that conversation today with a guy at the gym who's not even in law enforcement, but very successful in his trade, works for PG&E, and he's up there and makes a lot of money. And he said today, I just had that conversation. He said he has no college, he's successful, and yeah, you're right. People put, I think, too much weight.
But the argument that I always get is that, and I agree with this argument. I don't think that it holds as much weight as a lot of other life experience, but you started something, you committed to it,
yeah,
and you finished it.
I've always heard that
I
as
think
the
that's
biggest
huge.
thing.
I think that you can. I've recently done college, and it was online. So it's not like I'm not going to say I'm a Harvard grad or something like that.
we know,
or
dude.
even like a
anybody that's listening to this show, then
like
knows.
even a CSU grad. I'm nothing. Like it wasn't that difficult. It's a bio-degree program, but starting it and finishing it is huge. I think that means something.
Sure,
but I think that working a career in sales or law enforcement or restaurant is probably more. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Or military, I would say, is the highest.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I think it's interesting. We just talk about you readjusting all and everything.
Yeah,
right
my
now.
chair was like, I was like, dude, I'm like taller than all of you. Why am I sitting so low? My chair was super low.
Oh,
sorry.
lower it, so it's the same.
Go ahead, dude.
But I think it's interesting why everybody gets into law enforcement.
Yeah, everyone has their own reasons. I mean, probably a lot have the same, but
Yeah. But talking about like the trauma and like things that you experience and stuff, can you think of your first actual incident that caused you to kind of think of the first call that you took home with you that was like mind blowing, kind of shock, like lingered with you? You know what I'm talking about? It's the first one that really, I don't want to say fucked with you, but like it fucked with you.
like it stuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first because something immediately pops to mind with me is it was before I was a cop. It was like I said, I was an intern on an ambulance, first responder, same deal kind of, and it was I had doing CPR on somebody in their house in front of their spouse at 17 years old, and this person ultimately ended up dying, and the wife is there and she's obviously hysterical. The family's there. As a 17-year-old, I had never experienced that. And so, I remember from that incident going home and I cried. I lived with my parents, and I felt like I let the spouse of this deceased person down. Like, so that was pretty hard. That always stuck with me. But as far as law enforcement, there's so many things, but something in the beginning of my career, probably that stuck with me the most would be after my daughter was born. She was 2. She was around 2.5, almost 3. So, and I ended up going to this drowning of a 2-year-old girl. And, when we got there, she's been taken out of the pool and she was declared dead on scene. So by fire personnel. Or I'm sorry, I think actually she was dead, but they ended up transporting her to the hospital, where that's where the doctor declared her. But long and the short is, I went to the hospital with her, and they don't allow children to be left alone in the room when they're deceased. So I was asked to stay in the room with her, and I remember like vividly, like just looking at her, and it was so weird. Like I saw my daughter in this little girl, like it was like they were twins, and it was like my kid. I don't know, that hit me pretty hard. I didn't like break down, and obviously we still have a job to do and stuff, and I was able to do that. But that image has been like fried in the back of my head, and like just talking about it, I'm like seeing it. I think that probably was one of the first times where something really like stuck in my brain. That I don't think I'll probably ever forget that. So, if that's what you're talking about, like that would be probably mine. And obviously we see a lot of shit, right?
Was it a homicide or?
No, she drowned.
Well,
she accidentally drowned in the pool. The family was barbecuing and, they were intoxicated. And unfortunately the little girl, went out in the backyard unbeknownst to everybody else and fell in the pool and drowned. So by the time they found her, it was too late. So, but yeah, just sitting in the room with her and just looking at her, and, the fucking family shows up, and that was brutal. But anyways.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah.
That sounds,
well, any child death
horrific.
is horrific. But I think, and prior to that, I had been to child death, I've been to SIDS deaths. I've been to, infants who had passed away, and, as shitty as that is, like it didn't hit me like it did with that little 2-year-old girl after I had my daughter, because the connection was there. So, anyways, I don't know.
no, I didn't have, I started in corrections. So my first 4 years was in corrections, which is a whole different ball game. For the most part, I think that most people in jail they're criminals, right? And some maybe aren't, and some are the ones who made bad decisions once or twice. We've all made a bad decision. Theirs maybe was more ultimate just because of the consequences of it. First trauma wise though, I don't know. Like, I think it was cumulative, seeing just how some people, you have your frequent flyers and stuff like that. And that gets to you a little bit. How maybe, I can't think of one instance, but someone who is driving drunk, probably for the most part, a good person, and gets in an accident and kills somebody.
Yeah.
That's traumatic to even think about it. And it's not the going home and crying like you're talking, which I'm not dogging on you. You old pussy. No.
Yeah, off camera you will, dude.
No. I mean, but I think I remember in the jail, another inmate beating the living crap out of another inmate and ended up killing him. Mm-hmm. And, having to go in there and, again, doing CPR and, dealing with death and stuff like that. But that stuff never really hit me. Going to patrol, I don't have kids, so I would always jump on the kids' calls for the most part, because
that's a smart move, actually.
Because most of the people I worked with had kids, and I knew, hey, look, I can take this one maybe a little bit easier than you. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to see, I've heard that you're not the only one who's had that story where I saw my kid there. Yeah. My dad has told me stories like that about growing up. So I understood that. For me, it was animals. I do vividly remember somebody who, I don't know how, I know the end result was he burned a dog to death, threw it in a pit.
Jeez.
And for me, that was, that hit me hard because I have dogs, I guess.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I'm a big dog person. Mm-hmm. And I saw after that, I talked to my partners and I was like, hey, I'll take the kid ones.
You take the dog.
You take the dog ones. I don't handle those well.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and it's good to have those conversations with people that you work with, because maybe someone a kid's death bothers everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it should, but it bothers them less.
Yeah, I will agree with you. And like I just said, I had been to child deaths before and baby deaths, and they bother you, but nothing like that 2-year-old drowning and seeing my own kid in her. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't describe it to you. Anybody that's probably been in my shoes knows what I'm talking about, but that just gets fried in your brain. And I know I'll never get rid of that. But yeah, so I mean, that was tough.
Yeah.
Mine was a drowning baby too. It was really? Right when I first got off training, and I think it was in January of 2008. So, I mean, I look back this kid would have been 14 years old now. Mm. And it was this shitty apartment complex. This guy, his girl was working and he was home, ran a bath for his 10-month-old, put the 10-month-old in there, and then put his 2-year-old in the bathtub, turned the water on, and then went and fucking started playing video games, and then went outside and was smoking on the balcony, talking with his neighbors, continued to play the video game, and then went outside, and his neighbor ended up saying, don't you have kids you're supposed to pay attention to? And then he realized, oh, fuck, I have kids in the bathtub. And he goes in and the water just filled all the way. And then it was just going through that little draining.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. And the 2-year-old was still in there standing, playing. And the 10-month-old was not, was still in there.
Man.
And I remember showing up right when, I followed the fire department up the steps and they pulled them out. And I remember it's a burned vision, like you talk about. I can't tell you the video game, but it's a burned vision of the pause, literally the word pause on the screen of the TV, still on. And this guy standing outside smoking, not giving a shit. And the 1-year-old the 2-year-old was crying. And then so I had to go in the ambulance with the 10-month-old to the hospital because it did not make it. And then get to the hospital and they tried and there was nothing they could do. So then they like finally pronounced it, and then they wrapped the kid up all like real nice and tight and respectful for the family.
Yeah.
But it's a homicide at that point. They deemed a homicide, so no one could come in. So I, like you, had to wait in that fucking hospital room with the family with just a double door on the other side. And I can hear like family members like screaming and crying and like yanking on this door that was locked. And I had to sit in there for hours with this fucking dead baby. Yeah. And like, it was fucking horrible. And I remember listening to them. And then like, there was times like I literally sat there. Well, I never sat because I didn't have a fucking chair, but I literally like was crying and tears were like rolling down my face. And I was like, you know, I mean, I was 6 months into the fucking police and I was like, what the fuck? Like, am I fucked up from this? Like, this is not normal. Like, who does this? And like, I just remember that dude sitting outside smoking a fucking cigarette and didn't care.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Having to sit there with this baby until finally they were able to take it to the morgue. And then like, they just don't parade dead bodies to a hospital. So they're like, the nurse was fucking amazing, dude. Like, picked this kid up with like such like care and then like lightly like draped a blanket over it and then put like a pile of blankets in her other arm so it looked like she was carrying like linens. And then like we walked through the fucking family because that was the only way to get through, and they had no idea up to the morgue. And then I was able to leave, and I was like my whole shift, and I just remember like sitting in my patrol car just like broke down. I was like, this is just not fucking normal.
Yeah, it's not what you thought the job was gonna entail. Yeah,
that was like my first fucking. And it's, I mean, literally, I'm saying right now, the kid would be 14 years old. Like, it just fucking burned in you, you know? It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I experienced that the same thing. And yeah, I mean, shit like that is brutal. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I think most cops get into this job, they definitely don't think of that stuff. You know, you talked about like your ride along in Compton and how cool it was and the adrenaline and then you're dealing with shit like that and you're like, holy fuck, you know, like,
well, you do go, like, you do have, like, those really fun and exciting calls, and it's, like, your whole shift is nothing but adrenaline dump and, like, just excitement. Like, you don't have to take it, like, nothing bad. It was all awesome. And then you get that call, and it's just, like...
And they don't teach you that in the academy. Like,
no,
you don't
no
talk about that shit in the academy. I mean...
No.
But... well, do you guys want to? We'll take a quick break, and when we get
take a cry or something after that. Sorry,
like
listeners. Like,
well, I think it's good to roll into when we get back from the break. We'll talk about our own experiences dealing with trauma and things that each one of us have personally gone through and made mistakes along the way and learning from. So when we get back, we'll talk about that. And we'll end it on that, and then we'll discuss what part 2 is going to be back. So we'll be right back after the break.
All right, we took a little break there. I think most of us had to use the restroom probably because I don't know if you know that this is not water in these.
Is it iced tea?
Yeah, something like that.
It's apple juice.
Apple juice, yeah. So that to me that last part was a little heavy. I think if you're listening and anybody who law enforcement or not, if you listen to that and you didn't think that was a little heavy, maybe that hit me emotionally on some parts too. And so like my question is like, why do we stay in this then? Like if it's all trauma and all bad, me personally, I say it because I've experienced other jobs, and I think other than Kyle, most cops have.
Yeah.
And the greatest job I've ever had. The highs are far outweigh the lows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far outweigh the lows. From getting, I mean, there was a time where we were getting a lot of pursuits,
Yeah.
Probably one of the most fun thing I've ever done in my life is basically breaking every single law of driving a vehicle and rightfully so.
Yeah.
You know, to catch somebody. You know, I can also look at, you know, the good that I hope the good that I've done, the lives that I've changed for the better. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I stay in it. But for the most part, I love chasing people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun.
I mean, that is your job.
It is my
It
it is
is.
my job, but I mean, like I'm sitting there sometimes. I'm like, I hope this guy runs. You know, like,
Yeah.
like you just sit there and you're like, I hope this guy runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you do all the work in the front end, or you doing reports on patrol and everything, and you're rolling by and you're like, that's a good car. I'm going to stop that car. And you're like, as soon as you light it up, you're like,
Go, go, go,
come on,
go.
come on, come on,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's basically why I stay in it.
Yeah.
It's
valid.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll second that, and I think, you know, when I think back, you know, I've worked with some guys that, you know, some aren't even cops anymore. You know, whether they medically retired or, you know, we had Chris Bossett on this show. I think episode 2 was the dog handler. You know, when you link up with a good group of guys in this job and you're going out and just fucking tearing shit up,
Oh yeah.
and getting in the pursuits and foot chases and, you know, I mean,
Leg bails.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
When you get in them leg bails.
Oh yeah.
Nothing better than a leg bail.
Like no shit. Like nothing can replace that. I mean, just that like brotherhood that you form with some cops that you work with and the shit that you guys get into together. I mean, like to me, you can't replace that. And like you said, like, that's why I stay in it, you know, like,
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I guess I completely did, but I don't care.
yeah, go ahead.
But I
dude.
mean, you bring up brotherhood and everything, and I hate using that term, to be honest. But it is a term, and it
Yeah.
does completely make sense, and it defines it. The fact that you know, I can go to another neighboring agency and I can get on that radio or get on the phone usually and be like, "Hey, I need your assistance." Someone's there right away, and it's seamless.
Yeah.
Hey, what do we need to do? Let's go do it. And I could never have met that person or those people before in my life. And I 100% know that, hey, we're going to go do some,
You're all down
we're
for
gonna
the
do some
cause,
shit
yeah.
probably. And, you know, they got my back, I got their
Yeah.
back kind of deal.
Yeah, you know, and it comes down to just there's definitely been times in my life, and we'll get into that in part 2, but where like I was sometimes questioning, like, man, am I done? Like, do I want to keep doing this? And then, you know, we'll get into a cool car chase or something wild will happen, and we're setting up perimeters and, you know, getting fucking dog deployments, and I quickly remind myself, I'm like, this is why I fucking do this job. Like, I love it so much when we're out there catching bad guys, and there's a lot of times too, you know, when you get to help out like a community member who's suffering, or kids, or, you know, their bike got stolen, and you go to Walmart and, you know, Walmart donates a bike to you, and you go back and give them a bike, replace their bike that got stolen. And just like the look on like a kid's face. I think for me, those are the reasons why I continue to do this job. And, you know, I still talk to my buddy Chris almost every day, and, you know, he's not in law enforcement anymore. He had to medically retire because he got injured, but we talk about those moments, you know, sometimes, and it's just like, man, like those are undoubtedly probably going to be the best times in my life that I'll never forget. And it just like shit like that reminds me of like why I love this job so much. Like you can't replace it.
It's funny because growing up with my dad and growing up in law enforcement, or not in law enforcement, but around law enforcement, my dad, sorry, Dad, you're getting old. You know, he's in his 60s, well into his 60s, and closer to 70. But today, I'll go to hang out with him, and, you know, one of his other buddies that I've known my whole life show up, and they'll be talking the story, and they're sitting there laughing, you know, making jokes about it. And it's 20, 30 years ago, some of these stories.
But
And you're sitting there on the sideline going like, fuck, I wish we could still do that shit.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, and then you just brought up, made me think about it. You brought up, you know, calling for help or whatever. And like all these cops show up that you don't even know. You're in different jurisdictions, and everyone shows up like not even knowing what they're about to get into. And you guys are chasing murder suspects. So the likelihood of things going bad are very high. And when you get a group of dudes that you don't even know are there willing to risk their life to lay it all down with you, that reminds me just, I remember being in my first officer involved shooting and walking out of like the initial crime scene and seeing a sea of cops from all over, different agencies from all over. And something that really sticks out to me was I remember getting down to this, it was in an apartment complex. I'm kind of getting out of the crime scene area. And I see this, he must've been a detective or something, but he's in an unmarked car. He's got a nice freaking suit on, shirt and tie. And I could tell he's in a rush. He probably doesn't know that it's over with, but nonetheless, he's like throwing on his tack vest. He's getting ready to go. Right. And I remember like seeing that thinking like, I don't even fucking know that guy. And I could see that he's in a rush to get involved with what we were involved with was a fucking nasty shootout with somebody. He didn't have to. That guy obviously left an office somewhere. He was not a patrol guy. He left an office somewhere or doing something, to come and help people that other cops that he does not even know, never met in his life. And that's how I met you. Right. Yeah. I mean, dude, on a different, officer involved shooting, like you're there, like, I don't, shit, I didn't know you. Yeah. I didn't know the fucking 50 other cops that showed up. Right. But dude, that's another part of this job where I'm like, man, when you see that, like, that's crazy to me. Yeah. It's such a good feeling walking out and just seeing all these other guys and gals out there that are willing to fucking lay it all out on the line for you. And they don't know you. And that's crazy, like what other job fucking gives you that?
I think that some of that is like, yeah, that's the brotherhood and wanting to protect your friends, your partners and everything. But the other side of it is completely selfish. And I think it goes back to why some of us got in this job, because we want to be in the action, want to do like cool shit. Like
it's all selfish.
There's some people that it's 100%. And for me, probably that call going to when we met each other, like, yeah. Oh, I would have cared if a lot more if you would have been injured. Yeah. But at that point, like, oh yeah, he was in a shooting. Like, okay, well, that's, like kind of took the action out of that call for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like you're going there, like wanting the action, right?
Yeah,
like
you're going there for the action. I obviously not knowing that it's going to be a shooting until it is a shooting too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, dude. Like when you're involved in something like that and some of you listening are probably, thinking back to something you were involved in and just seeing just everyone there to come and help you. Man, that's pretty special when you actually think about it. A lot of people probably don't think about that, but I did. I remember that night, man. And I'll never forget that, dude. I can picture that dude right now in my eye, and I have no fucking clue who he is. Like, never seen him again. You don't even know what
department he works for, probably.
I don't know what department he works for. I've never seen him before and I've never seen him again, but I can vividly picture it right now in my head.
And it's probably, just from what you said, it's probably a neighboring agency.
It was
on his way home from work.
Oh yeah. Scanning.
And had the radio on and heard that and was like, I know where that's at. Let's go.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
I'm here. Let's go do some work,
Yeah, and real quick, we'll let Mark answer that. But just this past week, they had those 2 New York cops get shot and killed, which is tragic. And there's been all these photos floating around on Instagram. I don't know if you guys saw them, but like, dude, a sea of cops. I've never seen so many cops lined up on the side of the road in a Class A uniform for one of their funerals. Holy shit!
Yeah, I saw it. It was wild.
I mean, yeah. I've never seen that many cops.
And I'll get into that a little bit in the next part that we do too.
Yeah. Yep. And so you know what, man? Like, that's why I fucking keep going out and doing this job. Like that's why.
Yeah.
That makes me jealous because I can't do that anymore. Like,
yeah, but not to your fault,
Right. I mean, but I think that's part of some of trauma, which I'll talk later too, is when your career comes to an immediate end. Mm-hmm. And that's not even like a chapter you close anymore. It's like, it's literally a book that's on my shelf and I get to look back at it, which is really bizarre. But so now I can only talk about like stories from there and like what kept me in there. But it was when I was on the SWAT team, it was full time and it was the same 14 guys every day, like in the gym. And you just had just crazy bond with them, training, out of town trainings. But
The shit talking. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's huge. Like,
Yes, constant.
if you're on a team of any sort, patrol, correctional team, small SWAT team, and people don't talk shit to you,
They don't like you. You should be concerned.
Or
You
if
should
they
be really
talk
concerned.
Or if they talk shit to you and you can't talk shit back.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like that's funny.
you should be really concerned if like
Yeah.
if everyone's
And-
like, oh yeah, no, my team loves me. They don't say anything bad about
those
me.
people know
Nah,
who
they don't
are.
love you.
They
Yeah,
know
yeah.
who they are. There's one on our team. But one of the things that was the most satisfying thing that I could possibly have done in the department was my old partner and I were working an overtime shift, and it was night, late at night, and we stumbled across this lady that had a 10-year-old daughter that was sleeping in the bushes in the pure most dangerous part of the city. And when she was covered in staph infection, like dirty, had a backpack, and that was it. And we were talking with her and the mom, like, what is going on here? And she had, in a way, burned all her bridges and just made terrible decisions. That's where they were at. But no fault to the kid. So one of the guys on our team came from like the homeless detail. So we were able to get the mom and the daughter in an apartment or a hotel for 3 nights because we were working an overtime shift until we could come back and actually like help this family. And I remember, dude, broke my heart. This girl, when she got in the backseat of the patrol car with her mom was thankful. And this little girl was like, she didn't know we were listening because she didn't think we could hear, but we heard her say, mom, does that mean we're going to be safe tonight? And like, dude, the hotel we took him at was nothing. And I mean, it was a shit hotel, but they offered it for free. I mean, we were able to hook that up.
Yeah.
Dropped him off. We went, my buddy and I split and spent like $25, which is a ton of food. It's like a feast at KFC, and took it to them because she had not eaten in like a day and a half. And we ended up like over like 3 or 4 months, we ended up like, it took like a couple days. We got her and the daughter into actual like assisted living. It was, gosh dang it, I'm drawing a blank of it. Volunteers of America. They offer like a little housing. She was in that. Our team did like a surprise birthday party for her. We brought the canine unit, like a bunch of dogs came, like had a cake for her. And then we were able to find a house for her. It was like a huge house, but it was like a whole like wing that she was able to get. And it was paid for like 6 months. She moved into that. So we knew she was going to move into it. And then me and my partner were like, well, we need to furnish this thing. So we went to IKEA. I talked with the manager there, and he donated almost $6,000 worth of furniture.
Dang.
Yeah. So we furnished her bedroom, like bunk beds, because she was like super into school, like got all this stuff for her. We got stuff for the mom too, because I mean, we didn't really care about the mom, but like she needed stuff too. You know, you got to support.
Take care of the mom so she can take care of the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Target donated like $300 worth of like kitchen items. And then the mom had like, and we would check in like multiple times a week. Like our team would go and just hang out and bullshit with her because one, we wanted to make sure that she was on track, but like the kid was taken care of. And we ended up like, she had tore up teeth, like bad teeth.
The mom did or the daughter?
The mom did.
Okay.
And the daughter had crooked teeth too, but the mom had just rotted out teeth. And she's like, I can't get a job. No one will hire me because look, I can't even smile. And I was like, holy shit. So like,
I don't mean to laugh.
no, I know, but it's like,
Whoa, man,
Yeah.
shut your mouth there. Like,
but it makes you realize
That's
like she was
fucked
so insecure.
Yeah,
And
that's
a
fucked
buddy
up.
on the team was like, why don't you just get her new teeth? And I was like, oh, that's a fucking great idea. So there was a huge local dentistry in the northern part of the city. And I went and talked to the dentist, and he was like, please bring her in and the daughter, and I will do whatever it takes. And I was like,
That's cool.
yeah, but like, you got to realize like, it's going to be a lot. And he's like, I don't care. I'll do it. So we told the mom, like, which is a super awkward conversation to have with an adult. Like, hey, I know you have like shit teeth, and we're going to pay for you to get a whole new grill.
Yeah.
And dude, she cried, was like super happy. And the daughter was about to start school, so she was going to get braces. Dude, this dentist took out all of her teeth, put implants in, like not dentures, like actual implants, like legit teeth.
Wow.
Put braces on the daughter, And he was like, the dentist was so like thankful, like the police department, like the SWAT team, like, why are these people doing this? But it was for like good people.
Yeah.
And he ended up saying, bring me 15 kids and their parents, and we will donate dentistry to them. So we set it up, dude, and we brought 15 kids, most single parents, to this dentist office on a Saturday. All of the staff members donated their time and removed people's teeth. Like, I mean, it was incredible. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
to see, and the team still works with this dentist office to this day. The Smile Generation, I'll never forget it. Like, it's a national.
Yeah, give him a shout out.
If anything deserved a shout out on this show, that deserves a shout out.
It's the dentist office isn't in Natomas, and it's Park Place Dental. Amazing.
What's
place.
it called?
Park Place Dental.
Park Place Dental.
And
That's
it's
cool.
Dr. Rowe. Amazing guy. And then the Smile Generation is part of a nonprofit across dentistries, and you have to subscribe to it basically or be a part of it. And then they do a specific donation. Awesome.
Yeah.
But that was like the most rewarding thing. And that's like, that honestly was like driving me to like, dude, what else could we do outside the box?
Yeah, no, that's
But
fucking.
now that book's closed and it's on my shelf, so I can look back.
But I mean, you can look back at that.
That's cool, yeah.
And there's people out there that are better off.
Oh yeah.
And I think most, if not all, cops should be able to say that, like, the world is a better place, or my community, or that corner of my community, is a better place because of what I do.
Yeah, no
and whether
shit.
or not the community thinks it or not, you can sit there and you can go, yeah, okay, I don't really care what you think, to be honest.
Yeah.
That I do good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean,
Maybe not as good as you did, because like I would be like,
But that took a team
if it was
effort.
a do good competition, I'd be like, fuck Mark.
yeah.
We actually-
Mark won.
We actually got
that's
recognized by like the Sacramento
Yeah, we get it.
Kings.
You're great.
Like,
Okay,
yeah, you know, I mean, I
jeez.
could just. But that's the most. It's a book I could look at now and tell stories. But like that was like one of the most.
you
Other
guys-
than the rad stories of chasing and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
but that's not the rad. Like that's not
Yeah.
the. Like I don't want to say it's not the coolest thing, because it probably is the coolest thing in my opinion. But it's not like the most high adrenaline. Like
No.
your adrenaline wasn't pumped.
It's not-
Like,
not-
I've
that's
had
not-
those, you know, and like I mean, we've all had them. We have those stories, but like I think this was unique, and that's why I wanted to share it.
And you said
No,
you were recognized by the Sacramento Kings.
The Sacramento
I mean, that's
Kings.
an NBA team. You know, that's
Yeah.
awesome for
Yeah.
people that don't know. Like
Wow.
that's a professional basketball team. So, and there's a lot of local guys that that listen to this show, and if you guys are local, you know, we just gave you kind of an idea. Maybe can they still take kids or
Yeah, but
whatever to that dentist?
most places, like if you walked in a uniform and you went into like, especially a Target, I know that for sure, and you ask and you say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, some like kitchen supplies and stuff, hands down, a Target will donate. They will give you the
Yeah,
items.
I've always found that as well.
So if you
Walmart,
have
Target,
a family or some people that you think that might need something,
Mm-hmm.
surprise them. Go to Target and be like, hey, can I get some stuff? You know, like, and they will do it because
Yeah.
it looks good for them too. And IKEA, if you have an IKEA around, go and talk with the manager that runs IKEA, because this would be 4 years ago. They redesigned their entire company to be focused on community relations and what they can do for the community.
as they should. I mean,
It's awesome.
well, I you know, those are two big huge companies,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure that you know, I don't want to say that there's other companies, like I'm sure grocery stores,
Yeah, I bet they would.
you know,
Donate,
what's the harm in asking them,
Yeah.
like, hey, we don't do that. Like, oh, okay.
Okay, go to the next
Like,
one.
and if that embarrasses you to be told no, like, because I know there's some people like, I don't want to do that, you know, because
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to be told no.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Being told no should motivate you even
I'd be
more.
like,
Yeah.
hey, can I have $10,000 worth of groceries? And they'd be like, what?
Yeah,
I'll settle for
Okay,
$1,000.
$100. Like, start high.
yeah. No, that's fucking cool, man. I mean, yeah, I think that's a fucking great story, you know, and maybe motivate somebody listening to this show to go out and do something like that and put in the extra effort, you know. So there are a lot of businesses that are willing to do shit like that. All
I'd
you got to
say
do is
most,
ask.
probably.
Yeah, I would say most too. You know, I've never been told no.
Yeah.
going into a big box store and asking for something. Like I've never been told no. So
See, I work graveyards for most of my career. So
well, so do I. You're right. But
so like I wasn't going. IKEA has never been open. So.
hey, you know what? If you have to pass it on to a partner or somebody that works during the store time hours, like then just do that. But yeah,
And there's and I think especially larger agencies, like my agency has teams dedicated to
I think all of ours do
things like that. Maybe not to that extent that you guys went, which is
way far and
way above and beyond.
Yeah,
and that's to me that's I think the word hero is so fucking abused in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if people disagree with me or not.
No, I don't.
That is getting towards heroism in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's heroism yet, but
I would agree with you.
I think
not
that you're getting there to, like to somebody, you're their hero. That girl.
Yeah. To that family that you are, I mean, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably one of the most heroism or heroic job or
maybe this will move
it's a movement, it's like, I mean, that's huge. Law enforcement needs to move towards community relations, and we're out there to help kind of things, and that's huge. And
this might move it up on your list because
you're here.
We kept it super quiet in our outreach
until you got on a podcast where we have millions. Okay, maybe not
millions,
hundreds
of millions, but our media relations team and outreach got wind of it, and then they came to our unit and found out about it, and they wanted to take it public and go to the media and stuff. And I applaud our entire team because they all were on the same page, and we said, absolutely not. We're not telling anybody about this.
Yeah, that's cool because you're not looking for a pat on the back, right? That just tells me and everybody else that that just means you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart because you care about those people, not because you want an award or you want recognition. There's way too many cops out there that are looking for that shit. And that's just a whole nother topic, but I think that's awesome. I think that's rad that your team, did that. You definitely didn't have to. So let's wrap up tonight's the part 1. And again, we're going to get into part 2, which is going to discuss, kind of our pitfalls, our stories of where, I don't want to say hit rock bottom, but maybe rock bottom for us in our career and some mistakes that we made along the way, and maybe to help you guys out so you don't end up where we ended up. I ended up on the brink of quitting my job and out for 6 months, and so we're going to talk about that.
And we're going to be, we're going to be honest and candid about it too. I mean, at least I am.
Yeah, I will be too.
I'll probably take some shots at each other too if we do some shots fired at each other.
That's right. Shots. We're taking shots.
Yeah. So, hey, seriously, for everybody that's been tuning in, thank you so much. Man, we love everyone that's been giving us feedback. Our boy Code 1 on Instagram over in Australia. Yeah, we appreciate you, dude.
And then TJ always throws our stuff out everywhere.
Yep. Yeah. So everyone that's honestly been supporting us, I mean, we can't thank you enough.
We're a grassroots movement here, folks. But make us big.
Yeah, but gosh dang it, you cheap bastards. For those of you listening on iTunes or Spotify or whatever app program you're listening to us on, give us a rating. Damn it, hit the 5. Better be 5 stars.
Yeah, and if you got that business or something and you want to get your word out, especially I'm guessing there's probably mostly law enforcement people listening. So
a lot of them own businesses though.
But if you're a law enforcement related business and you want to
support us or sponsor us.
Yeah. If you give us free stuff, I mean, I think I'll tell you, me personally, I'm not going to put my stamp of endorsement on it until I use it. And if it's crap, I'm gonna tell you it's crap.
Let
send us the good shit.
If you want that Gucci, hey, we said it before. If you do own something or whatever, we're joking. You don't need to sponsor us, but if you want to send us something, we have a PO box. You can send it to us, and we'll show it off on the show, and we'll market you, for you. So hit us up on the side. Obviously we all have Instagram now. Mine's Kyle_Schoberg, Billy Shots Fired Podcast, and Mark SFP. Hit us up on Instagram. We'll give you the PO box. you can send us something and we'll shout it out for you guys on the show. And then please, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment on what you guys think about our discussions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, or you either have a question. I don't care what it is. Throw it in a comment on YouTube. We respond to all of those. So
yeah, and on that note, I had someone that I know who I didn't even know listened, and he shot me. I mean, it was a text, which is probably the best way to get a hold of me, but you won't get that number unless you want.
I was gonna say, so what are we giving your number out? Or?
But I'm just saying, like, there's a few people that I know that listen to it. So if you have those questions and stuff like that, if you don't want to do it through Instagram or whatever, shoot me a text. I don't care.
Yeah,
and then I'll mention to Kyle why he sucks.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that's what you're gonna tell me. And
that's why.
Be like, oh yeah, Billy, you have the best beard on the show. You know, I don't know.
I don't get to do your cool job. But anyways, we'll end it on that, guys. We're gonna see you on part 2, and thanks for tuning in.
Be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Later.
Hey, 4 shot fired. Copy, additional shot fired. Shot fired, shot fired. Shooting at us. Suspect shooting an officer.